speaking and my products, they all communicate the same thing, that it is quite possible, and it is possible for you to rebuild your life after trauma. When you're in the rebuild stage, after a breakup, after trauma, after a failed attempt at something that we perceive as a failure, it really isn't. It's just a lesson. But whatever it may be, it is so possible to rebuild your life after that and become the best version of yourself. So hopefully, Leslie, I gave enough information and not too much. So, oh dear. And if you're there, she is. I'm like, I lost her. There she is.
No, I'm here. I'm here. Once again, today we had some technical difficulties again. So I went to YouTube to check and see if we were there, and I saw people were waiting, and I'm like, I hit the live button already, but we're live now, so no worries, no worries. And you know, I always record it, so I recorded it. So for those that missed us in the beginning, so good morning and welcome. I see that we do have someone here with us. The comments, you can put anything in the comments. We'll come back and read it, and we'll recognize you. I haven't seen any faces or names, so I don't know who's live with us, but we are glad that you are here. So, like I said earlier, you are in for a treat because we are with no other than the Affirmation Whisperer. So, Karon, thank you so much for that amazing introduction. And so we're going to kind of jump on into it, right? So, what was the moment that you realized that you wanted to start your own business, and what drove you to take that leap?
Ooh, that's a good question. So, is the audio okay? I hear a little bit of an echo. Is it mine?
Yeah, we should be good.
Okay. So at the moment that I realized I wanted to start a business is when I realized I had something to say. I had something to share. In rebuilding my life, as I shared earlier, it dawned on me that this whole blueprint that I've created can be used by other women, and they can take this blueprint and customize it for themselves. So in realizing that, I'm like, okay, what am I going to do? How am I going to get this out there to share with others about rebuilding their lives after trauma? So in speaking with other women and getting in different platforms, I began to hear about, starting a business. And I'm like, actually, all I want to do is be a public speaker, right? But then I'm like, okay, you're a public speaker, but how are you going to expand that? So getting around people such as Leslie and others, I had began to learn the background
I hope that Karon is okay, and I hope you guys can still see and hear me. Um, so Karon may be having some technical difficulty on her end, or I don't know if it's on my end. So we'll just wait for Karon to pop back up. But you know that question that I asked her, like, when is it? What was the moment that you realized that you wanted to start your own business? You wanted to be an entrepreneur. You wanted to be in control of kind of your destiny. And you know, don't get me wrong. There's nothing wrong with a job, but a job. Good morning, Mel. Thank you so much for joining us, and thank you, Annika, for letting me know that you can hear us. So Kayron popped off, so it must be something on her end. So yeah, so you know, as this Mosaic Sparks is a platform for visionary women, it is for women that kind of see something bigger for themselves. And there's really nothing wrong with that. A lot of times people feel that they need to put you inside of a box. And really and truly, it's their box. That box has nothing to do with you. And so as we move along in life, we may feel, well, to be friends or to be in the clique or to get along, we need to be a part of that box as well. But that's not how God designed us. Each and every one of us are designed uniquely. And so with that, each and every one of us, we have our own purpose that we have to walk out, right? And so if we are focused on that, if you have that vision and maintain that vision, we all have different paths. So the path is not the same for everyone. Everyone is not going to be an entrepreneur. Every each and every one of us is different. So, but to the moment that you realize that, I want to do this, I want to be an artist, or I want to open my restaurant, or whatever it is, you put, I want to be an author. I know for me, some people in my community have heard my story about me being an author, but I talked about that thing for like 20 years, and really and truly I was like in this box and I was stuck, and I was saying, repeating that story to people that really couldn't help me. So in saying that, right, as you are moving along, and you heard Karon say a little bit before we lost her, is that she was around women that were talking about business. So whatever we focus on, that grows. So if you want to get around people that are talking about the thing that you aspire to be, that's going to be part of your support system. And the other thing I want to talk about, and I think I talk about this a lot, is, sometimes as women, it could be men as well, but most of my experience is with women, as I am a woman and I coach women, is that we may feel that if we ask, that says something negative about us. And I'll be the first to put my hand up. As I just said, I wanted to be an author for 20 years. And I think every year, as we have those New Year's resolutions, I would say that, I'm going to be an author. And I thought that's all I needed to do. I didn't have a support system. I didn't believe that I could be an author. That's the other part, right? So the other part is the belief, and sometimes because we may not believe wholeheartedly, because it does start with us. That if we don't believe, then we really won't want to ask somebody, because now maybe that someone or somebody's may keep us accountable. And so if we haven't bought into, I want to do or be dot, 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 now those other people or person is going to hold us accountable. And we definitely don't want that, right? So there's so much that goes into that. But as the question that I asked Karon first is, when was that moment? So hopefully we'll get her back. But if we don't, for those that are here with us this morning, thank you for being here. Really appreciate you being here with us live. And we had a special giveaway that we're going to do at the end. But start to think, or maybe start to write down, right? So maybe some of you are journalers. So some of you may write it out. And when I say write it out, like they talk about brainstorming, right? So it's not writing it out perfect. It's not writing it out with, grammar. On social media, I see all the time that there's grammar polices, right? And sometimes for social media, it could be people are just dumping out what's in their head. So maybe grab yourself a journal if you don't want it to be that formal. Grab yourself a piece of paper. I do a lot of doodling on papers and sticky notes and all of that all over the place, right? Or if you want to put the notes in your phone, but start to dump out some of those things that you desire, some of those things that, and maybe that may be the moment. So maybe in a year from now or 2 years from now, you're being interviewed and somebody asks you, hey, when was that moment? And that moment could be when you started dumping it out, when you started journaling, right? That could be the moment. But I guarantee you that you will be doing yourself one of the biggest favors by getting to when when you move forward on that thing that you desire. Now, don't get me wrong, you're not going to have all the pieces. You're not. Let me just be the first to tell you. You're not going to have all the pieces. You're not going to have all the answers. You're not going to have everything all the gurus talk about. We have the systems, and you do the marketing and just all the stuff. And sometimes for some people, all of the stuff can be the thing to stop them. And for me, I'm going to start with me writing the book. Had no clue what all it would entail. But what I do know, and also my very first book was a co-author book, which I've heard people say, Leslie, like, that's crazy. How do you start a book and start by bringing in other people? For me, because I love people and how they show up, not the way I want them to show up, um, I created a process for that. And because of that process, it turned out to be very successful. And that was my first go around, right? So I asked the question, how do I? I asked for help, had somebody help me. And then in the interim, took actions and steps to be accountable in that process, right? And created a system. So it's not just about the moment that you find out you want to be an entrepreneur, business owner, or you want to change this career, you want to be in that. It's not, it is that moment. That moment is first. And then we're going to move forward. And I talked about support. Then you want to get around those that support you. So that's going to be like that second moment, right? But as you are going in that thing, as you are there's a piece that you have to play as well, right? So what is that business? Is it a restaurant? You love to cook. A lot of people have said, "Oh my goodness, like your food is amazing." But have you been studying? Have you been um, creating new recipes? Have you been cooking other things so that you're coming up with new creative ways? So what's the part that you play, right? And I think that sometimes when we say we want to do X, we forget that there's a part that we have to play. And I'm going to tell you, I feel that that's really where people fail because they forget that they need to be responsible for whatever that thing is, right? So as we're here this morning, Karon hasn't come back. Just give me 1 second. Try and see if she tried to text me or call me. All right, she's trying to get back in. Um, oh, I love that question, Melon. I'm gonna answer. I'm gonna answer it. Oh, I love that question. Thank you. Um, yeah. So there's a part that we have to play. And so in the chat, thank you so much for that, Mel. Let me see if I can show comments. Hold on. Yeah, I can show comments. So this is a question that I got from a guest. Thank you so much for that. What inspired me to start Mosaic over 6 years ago? And so Mosaic is just like that, the book. I kept on saying, I know that I have a gift of women and empowering women. I've been doing that since I'm a little girl. I've been around my grandmother, and even as a little girl at 6 years old, like anything that woman would say, I would pick up. I can repeat so many phrases that I heard that lady say when I was like 5 and 6 years old. And the beauty about her is that she loved people. And when I say love people, she loved people that she would take in people in the house all the time. She's feeding people, she's taking in people sleeping in the house, all of that, right? So that's how I grew up. And so Mosaic, um, part of Mosaic is, as you see that tile, the tile is on purpose. And when I hear the word Mosaic, I think of diversity. So I've had the pleasure of living all over the world, speaking 3 languages, um, and being a Caribbean woman with an American dad and a West Indian mother. So my life has always been a hodgepodge. And so I appreciate diversity. And hence why I say that I appreciate how people show up. I don't want you to show up the way Leslie wants you to show up. I want you to show up the way you show up. And so, because with that, I get to learn a different aspect of humanity. So, in started Mosaic, I had always been part of at work organizing events and doing events and being very successful at putting these things together. And finally, I kept on saying, why am I always talking about this thing and not doing it? And so I had a conversation. I was planning on doing an event, International Day of the Girl, October of 2018. I was planning on doing that event, but I got scared. And, I said earlier that I doodle a lot. So I had already written out a whole lot of stuff, right? I happened to have a conversation with a friend of mine, and she is an incredible lifestyle fashion influencer. And at that time, she was just starting her her love. She's always had a love for fashion, and she just started sharing it online. And I don't think she had started her YouTube channel as yet, but she had started on Instagram and on Facebook, and she was getting a little bit of traction. Like this is 6 years ago. Now she's blown up. Her name is Carrie Spence, but back then she had just started, and she and I were having a conversation, and I was saying to her, I want to do this thing, but I'm afraid, and da 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 da, and all this. So she said, Leslie, just go ahead and do it. And I kid you not, when I got off the phone, because I had already written out people that I was going to ask to be part of the event, I'd already done all of that. So as I got off the phone with her, I went to my list and I started calling people. And y'all, this was 9 o'clock at night. But I had to jump. If I didn't jump then, I don't know when I would have done it. And so I started calling, and one person said yes. Two people said yes, and I said, "Oh wow, okay, I got a plan going on." So I started to structure a little bit more, and voila, that was the birth. And so Mosaic's very first event, we had 10 vendors, 40 something guests, because I think altogether there was like 60 something people there. Um, People from my job bought tickets. I partnered with the local HR community because it was a diversity workshop. My first keynote speaker was a transgender woman. So I put all of that together. Because like I said, I'd been putting events together for work, for working for the city on a government level. Always been putting together events. I was the first um, chairperson for the diversity committee, right? So yeah. So thank you so much for asking that question. And like I say, Mel, and for anyone that's listening, it's been something in me for years. And there's something in you that has been gnawing at you for years. That one person that you need to talk to that will tell you, just go ahead and do it. You know who that person is. It's not that person that when you share with them, they're gonna give you all the negative. They're gonna say, but no, you shouldn't. And that's not the person that you need at that time because you're not that yes, you are in the infancy stage. You are in the infancy stage. You in your heart and your belief, you're standing tall. You have this amazing, larger than life belief inside of you, right? Because I'm describing how I felt, right? So you have that in you, but there's a part of you that you still need somebody. to co-sign on it. And once that one person co-signs on it, then you can release her, right? And then you can move forward. But if you don't get that one person to co-sign just a little bit, then that giant inside of you, that giant belief inside of you can't come out. So be very careful. Mel, thank you. Be very, very careful. The person or persons that you decide to speak your vision or your dream to. Because it's not that they're not going to kill it for you, right? Because I don't feel and don't believe that anybody can kill it for you. It's just that you haven't gotten that one co-signer for you to release it, because it's still going to be there. I guarantee you. One of the things, and it may not be Les Brown's, and let me add. Oh yeah, I can add comments. It may not be Les Brown's phrase, so it may have started from someone else. But one of the quotes. Oh, Karon has come back. Karon, I'm going to bring you into the studio. One of the quotes that a lot of us know is that the richest place in the world is the cemetery. So that's why I know that it doesn't disappear, right? Because what they're saying is that person died with that dream inside of them. That person died and could not release it, right? So that's why they say it's the richest place in the world. It's the cemetery. So it's not that that person is going to kill it for you. That person is just not going to let you release her. And I say her because that's the bigger part of you, right? So this morning, for anyone that's listening, get that thing out of your head. Scribble it. It's not going to look right. It ain't going to be grammatically correct, because if I show you some things from years ago, some scribbling, because I save a lot of my stuff, it doesn't even it don't even look right, right? But it's not you for you to judge you. It is for you to get it out, right? So it's for you, one, to get it out, and for you to seek some discernment of the person or the persons that you are going to release or have that discussion with. You know, and here's the other thing, and I'm going to bring Karon on. I'm just going to pick a name. So there's someone on here named Sally. Forgive me, I'm just picking a name. So if negative Sally, and Sally is your friend, Sally may not even be negative. Probably when you talk to Sally, a lot of times, Sally is very positive. But Sally and you've been friends for a long time. And you're going to say to Sally, you know something, I want to write this book. I want to open this restaurant. I want to start this business. I want to be a speaker. I want to be an international speaker. I want to fly all over the world and empower women. In the background, Sally may be thinking, oh my goodness, we hang out a lot. Oh my goodness, now we're not going to be able to hang out like we used to hang out. Where she's going, she's leaving me. Oh my goodness. These might be the things going on in her head. So because those are the things that's going on in her head, out of her mouth, she's going to say, well, you've never done that before. Do you know anybody that has done that? Right away now, that brings you down. And you're not going to really have that discussion again. And that's kind of killed your vibe. So you can't release her now. But Sally's not necessarily negative. But when it comes to something that you said to Sally, out comes that negative thought. Because here's the thing, right? Each and every one, we have a lot more negative thoughts than we do. And that's why Karon is so important, where she's the affirmation whisperer, right? Teaching you how to speak good, well, greatness about yourself, right? So, with no other further ado, I'm going to bring back on the affirmation whisperer, Karon.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much, Leslie. I had to call the cable people and they're having outages. So hopefully I will stay with you. But thank you for everybody's patience. And I'm so glad to be back. I was listening to what you had to say. Such great gems, such great gems.
Thank you, thank you. And you've never got a chance to answer the question.
Oh my gosh. Well, good. I can
I,
start from the beginning.
there we go. There we go. So, as Mel says, welcome back.
Thank you,
So,
Mel.
um, I'm gonna go somewhere else. So, in the early stages of your business, what were your greatest challenge that you face, and how did you overcome that? Let's go there.
Oh, that's a great question. What were my greatest challenges? I'll say this, and this I keep being reminded of this is that I can't conquer Rome in a day. I can't do it all in a day. So that would be my greatest thing that I had to conquer when I first started, because you're so excited about your business. You want to get out there and you want to conquer the world. You want, all these clients, you want all these bookings, you want everything right then. But I had to be honest with myself and say, you're not ready for that. You're just getting started. And yes, we've heard those wonder stories where people will just get started and they blow up overnight. Well, I'm kind of glad I didn't, because it gave me an opportunity to learn me and my business, for my business to work on me so that I can work on others. So, hopefully that makes sense. I think it does make sense, but that was the biggest thing for me, to really get to a point of accepting that I can't do it all in one. My year two started March. My year two started back in March. So in the beginning, I was so excited and just pumped, ready to do everything, ready to write all the books, ready to have all the speaking engagements, just ready, ready, ready. And I'm still ready. But in my realization that I couldn't do it all in a day, in a week, in a month, I am doing the things at a much slower pace, a much more defined pace, and a pace with much more clarity. Yeah, with much more clarity, so that when I do step up and step out, I'm stepping up and stepping out correctly. So hopefully I answered your question, Leslie.
I love that. Can't conquer Rome in a day. I think that's great advice for everyone, for anything. Doesn't matter how long you've been in business,
Mhm.
or whatever, right? Because sometimes you got to pace yourself. Right now we have the Olympics going on,
Yeah, yeah.
and I used to run track, so I love track and field.
Mhm.
And I like the sprinting part, but when we have those long distance runners, I watch them too, right? And
Mhm.
so with the long distance runners, you kind of know the ones that's not gonna make it all the way through, right? Because they start off they hot, but with the ones that know how to pace themselves, they start off slow. Next thing you
Mhm.
know, you see them coming up from the back, like where they come from. They're just pacing themselves. So I think that is great advice for everyone, for
Yes.
anything that you're doing.
Yeah.
That is just absolutely great advice. Um, Entrepreneurship can be very demanding, right? How do you manage the balance between your entrepreneur life, your personal life, and what advice would you give to any new entrepreneur or seasoned entrepreneur? I don't know. I really don't know what is a seasoned entrepreneur, but just any entrepreneur, but especially the ones starting off. Who might be struggling with that. And the reason why I say especially the new ones, because as you just said just a while ago, is you can't conquer Rome in a day. So for the very new entrepreneurs that just bust out and they're excited about their business and all that the future has to bring, what advice would you give?
Back to this, exactly. Back to, you can't conquer Rome in a day. As a new entrepreneur, I spent a lot of time up all night working full time and running and starting a business. It was very demanding. But what I will say, it's not sustainable. Staying up all night, not eating properly, not getting enough rest, not getting exercise, not getting outside because you're in front of this wonderful thing we call a computer, right? You're in front of that, or you're at your design desk, just creating all these wonderful products and wonderful ideas. it's not sustainable. It literally is not sustainable. So finding the balance, honestly, I am consistently finding the balance because of whatever I'm working on, whether it's a new book or a speaking engagement or a workshop, a masterclass, depending on what I'm working on will require more or less of me, and I adjust my schedule accordingly. However, I make sure that daily I'm eating, at least 2 meals a day. I get outside to get some fresh air, and I go and exercise my body. And Leslie, even if it's me just going out to walk 3 or 4 miles and coming back, that ain't no easy feat, but I do it. Or going to the gym for exercise, whatever it may be, making sure that I'm moving my body, because I have learned during this journey of entrepreneurship that when you're rested and you're getting good nutrition and you are moving your body, you have so much more clarity. You even have more energy to put towards whatever project it is that you're working on. So the balance, it changes. It really does change. There's never a 50-50 in many things, I'd say. But am I making sure though that I'm investing in my rest, my nutrition, and my exercise? Am I investing in that at least actually daily? And exercise could be just going to the mall and walk, or doing some things around the house, going out in the garden. It doesn't have to be with weights and all the strenuous stuff that we see. It can be that, nothing against it, but just doing it daily at some measure really does keep me in that place of being able to unload everything with exercise, with walking, just kind of unload it all so that I can just be at peace. And then once I get back to it, I have a refreshed mind. I have new ideas. I have another perspective, so I can see things with much more clarity.
Wow,
Yeah.
that is great advice.
Hmm.
And what I love is, as I said, when I started to say seasoned, I don't know what season means, but that advice is for everyone.
It
What
is.
I love what you said is that, um, we can be in front of the computer, and sometimes I can get lost, where like hours will go by and I haven't gotten up,
Mm-hmm.
and it's because you were just zoned in. You
Yeah.
are zoned in and you're
Mhm.
focused.
Yeah.
And I read the study, and I think it is advised for us to get up within every hour,
It is.
right? And
Mhm.
I was like, oh my God, I don't think I've ever done that. But right,
Yep.
because we forget that it is this body that we have, and we are, we are designed and moving forward in our purpose, but at the same time, our health matters. So,
It does. It does. I
I,
heard someone
I,
say one time that you can have all the money in the world, but if you don't have good health, the money is pointless because you can't use it. You're using it for your medications, for hospital stays, etc. So if without good health, you really can't live a good quality life, no matter how much money you have, no matter how much time you have. Good health is the foundation of you being able to do all the other things.
Absolutely,
Mhm.
absolutely. And thank you so much, Susie Roll, for your comment. And I figured
Yes.
out how to put comments on the screen, so I know how to put comments on the screen. Um, yes, so very welcome for the comments. Yeah, because and what you just said, you can be spending that money on medication, right? You're gonna
Mhm.
spend the money on something, right? So that is so important. So for anyone that is listening, and if you struggle with that, because as Karon has shared, she struggled with that. I've shared that I struggle with that, and it is that word intentionality is so important. You really have to be intentional about, okay, so after this amount of time, I'm gonna get up. We have so many electronic devices now. You got it on your phone, you got Alexa, you got all these different things that can set yourself as a reminder. And here's the thing, right? I'm gonna talk about this and then I'll go on to our next question. But if mainly my audience is women, so there may be some men watching, and we appreciate you, but my audience is always women. So for the women that are watching and listening, please find a place in your closet to put up that Superwoman cape. Just find somewhere in the closet, and just put it up. Now, don't get me wrong. If you are a mother or you are an auntie, or you are a godmother, I know there's times that you need to pull that cape out because you need to stand strong to represent that person, right? So if so you could pull out that superwoman cape then, but for everyday life stuff that we talking about, no, you need to pull that. You need to hang that one up and pull that cape out at the times that you need to. So this is my brother. So thank you so much for joining. And like I said, I know there's gonna be men watching. I didn't think he was gonna be watching, but thank you so much for joining. And let me put your link up. All right. Can you share a decision that you made that was critical to your success and explain why it was impactful? Oh, you might be on mute. Hold on.
Leslie will have a recollection of this. When I first started introducing myself to people, and they asked, what do I do? And I said, I serve people. And she, being a little more seasoned, if you will, at being an entrepreneur, she's like, well, that's interesting. So, what I learned most was to niche down, to get very clear about what it is I wanted to do and how I was going to go about doing that. So, in niching down, and for those that may not be familiar with the term, basically getting very clear about who I wanted to serve, who I am designed and purposed in this time of my life to serve. Who am I to serve? I have a message, but is it for the teenager? Is it for the toddler? Is it for this age group? Is it for the women? Is it for the men? So, getting very clear about what it is I was doing was hugely important for my success. And I've niched down 45 to 60-year-old women who are in the process of the rebuild, or just in a moment in their life where they just need to firm up what they're doing. That's my niche. And that was the most important thing I can do for my business because it gave me focus. I'm able to create my content geared to the women in that group. I'm able to do my own research in that group, right? So really just niching down, getting specific on what it is I was doing. There's nothing like clarity of what it is that you are to do and how to do it. Once you gain that clarity, then you can move forward strategically about what it is you do. You're not going to be in every workshop. You're not going to be in every room because you have realized that, you know what, this time I need to focus on this particular task. That workshop is amazing, but it's not geared to what I'm doing and what I will do. So that's my answer, Leslie, that I got myself very clear on who it is that I'm serving and niche down and stay very focused on that.
Great, great, great advice. And sometime with the marketing gurus, and if there's any marketing gurus on here, power to you. But with the marketing gurus, the language in that they have, especially for new people and even for people that have been in business a long time, because if you are in your local area and you are a great cook and your restaurant is banging, well, you probably don't have to do a lot of marketing because it's word of mouth, right?
Right.
So in terms of the word niching down, well, they just know that they do soul food, right? And so everybody come, right? So a lot of times the gurus would use these words, and a lot of times we hear it, but we really don't hear it. But what I loved about what you said is that your niching down was you getting very granular and very clear on you serve women in this age group. This workshop may be great, but it's not for you.
Mhm.
And that's the same as speaking engagements and anything else. They may be wonderful, but it's not for you because it's not your target audience. So that advice is for everyone. No matter what sector of business you're in, spend some time to find out who your client is. And the gurus will say your avatar and so forth, but spend some time to know who your client is and how they want to be served.
Yes.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Because sometimes we think it's how, we may want to do this thing, but if ain't nobody gonna buy it, well, we've seen, how many restaurants have we seen? McDonald's and Burger King and Wendy's and all these other restaurants that have been around for hundreds of years or decades, that they put something on the menu, they testing it, and then you don't see it anymore,
Right.
right? So we can do the same thing. So thank you so much. That is absolutely incredible advice. Um, what is one piece of unconventional advice that you've received that has significantly influenced your entrepreneurial journey, your professional journey, that has just influenced your journey, period?
Mm. Good question. So I was told by someone you know very well, Charlene Brown. She said to us one time to know your business. And so many, I've heard it so many times, just start dirty, just get out there and just start doing it and you'll be fine. The most unconventional advice I got is to learn your back office. And I don't hear the gurus saying that, right? They say get out there and get started and you'll figure it out. But that advice helped me to slow down and to really get a handle on what it is that I'm doing or will do. Knowing my back office, knowing how, and when I say back office, just the back end of things, the support, the foundation of everything, whether it's systems, whether it's my SOP, whether it's my booking agent, whether it's my calendar, really knowing the functionality of these pieces of my business helps me that when the speaking engagements come about, I already have a link. It's already set up. Here it is. Go ahead and book me there. Or for my book signing events, what funnels do I have? Do I have that already set up? Or am I using some other system that's not designed for business to receive payments? Do I have that set up for my books? Do I have a place to display my books? I can carry them around with me, right? From place to place, which I do. But what if someone just wants to order one for someone else? Do I have that set up? So really having my back office organized and set up, all my links working, having a place to send people to be able to quickly get to it was the best unconventional advice I got in my process for me. Everybody else prior to that was just saying, "Oh, you'll figure it out. Use this, use that." Da, da, da. No clarity. Just getting anything that sparkled. I got it. Everything that's, and I had no idea why I was getting it. So that clarity I spoke about earlier, and then really making sure that everything in the back is tight and right, and really knowing why am I on this particular application, why am I here on this platform, have I really dug in to figure out what I need and why am I using this. Everyone will tell you just use it, just you'll no, not for me. I don't have that kind of time to invest. I want to be out working with my clients. I don't want to spend days and days figuring out things, right? So that would be the best thing I can say. The most unconventional advice I received was to learn your back office, learn your back end, make sure you got that tight and right, and then move forward with getting out there with the public so you have a place to point them.
Absolutely, that is great advice for everyone, right? And that
Mhm.
can be somewhere where people can struggle, because as you said, you have the gurus saying, do this, do that, get this, get that. I know for me, Mosaic started in 2018.
Mhm.
um, we had an event 18, had an event in 19, so I was planning another event in 2020, and we all know what happened in 2020.
Yeah, yeah.
And so I was not online. Everything was here local, in my
Mhm.
local area. And so now trying to navigate this online world, what that looks like and how that can help my business, oh my goodness, did you hear a whole lot of stuff. And, I was just talking to my daughters the other day and kind of recapping those 2020, 2021 era. And, only now you can look back, because a lot of those gurus at the time, um, not around anymore. They're not doing the same thing anymore.
No.
And one of the biggest reasons is there was money that people had money that was coming from left, right, and center, right?
Yes.
So you had people like me that wanted to continue their business and did not understand the online world. So people were throwing money at people that said that they were gurus where they probably started 2, 3 months ago because the world had shut down, right? And so a lot of that was happening. And so where people will get misguided. And in anything we do, we need to know how the stuff operates. So in any business that you have, anyone here that is on here with us that's going to come back and listen to the replay, know how your business operates because that is the most important thing. And that is something that you now knowing how your business operate, you can now invite other people to assist you with that. And I think that is really the biggest thing is to be able to invite other people to assist you.
Mhm.
So thank you so much. So I'm gonna switch gears now. So we talked about the one thing that helped you that was impactful for you, one piece of advice. So, what is one piece of advice that you wish that you ignored and why?
I just said it a moment ago. Starting
Oh,
dirty.
okay, got you.
Starting dirty. And it's because of your excitement. No shame on anybody. I did it, and I know others will do it. It's the excitement of wanting to just get out there and make that impact that you just know that you're going to make. Had I ignored that and really just made sure that I had all the pieces, all my registrations done, all my government stuff done, had I made sure of that, I would not have had to stop and back up, get that done, and then go forward, right? So if I didn't have my payment funnel set up for the workshop that I wanted to put together, I got the workshop together, but how are you going to receive payment? Wait, nobody told me that part. So I don't know. How am I? Well, maybe I'll use this or maybe I'll use that. But then how are you going to track it? And Leslie is very good about tracking numbers, right? She's one that helps drill that in my head about tracking. So really ignoring the advice to just start dirty. And you know what? Actually, there's going to be a degree of starting dirty, but I would have preferred to start less dirty, less dirty, right? Having as much of my foundation put into place and really having clarity about my business. What is it that I felt I should do, how to do it, and really speaking with people who have receipts. And that's another thing you mentioned about how in 2020, 2021, people were just throwing money at people who claim to know how to do this and how to do that, but we failed to get the receipts to be sure that they knew what they were saying, right? So I'm one of those who invested a lot of time sitting in rooms and going to workshops because they said, but where are the receipts? Well, now that I have all my stuff in order, I have receipts. I have receipts to show that I've done this and I've done that, and I know how to do this and I know how to do that. In the beginning, I was saying that I knew X, Y, and Z, but I had no receipts because I started dirty. I did not have my back office in order. And when I say back office, I just mean our foundational things. I didn't have that in order. I did not have things established, a payment funnel, an email funnel. I didn't have any of that. I was trying to use Gmail, my Gmail account. And not that there's anything wrong with that's the way you have to do it. But for me, just starting a little slower, getting a lot of clarity about what I'm doing, and really getting myself connected to those who had the receipts to show that they really did know what they were talking about, so that I didn't waste the time I did. I shouldn't say waste. I didn't invest the time that I did in those that really were talking around in circles, but didn't have any value to add. So there you go.
I love that. I love that receipts. So for those that are listening, any new entrepreneur, new business
Mhm.
owner, and let me just say this too, for those that maybe you're not in that entrepreneur is not the journey for you, but even in your career,
Right.
receipts are important even in your career, right? So
Mhm.
let's not forget that because at the end of the day, I don't care what role you're stepping into, people want to know what is the value that you're bringing that you can now elevate them, their company, the organization, the department, whatever. So in everything that we do, please let's not forget them receipts. Because I know that when and I'm putting my hand up because I'm guilty of that. I was guilty of that until when I had a coworker say to me, Leslie, you need to jot down everything that you're doing, right? And because this is in the workplace. Because what happens is we get so busy doing the thing and we don't keep track of the thing. Somebody asks you, what do you do? You're like, ooh, what do I do? But then you're at your computer for 4 hours a day that you don't get up because you're busy in the mix of doing things, right? So this is for everyone. Please track for everything. My youngest daughter is 20, and she's heard that. My children have heard that. You need to track everything because at the end of the day, you're not going to remember what you did last year. You're not, because if you are someone that part of your purpose in life is to impact humanity, you're always moving, growing, learning, pushing things out. So you're not gonna. So those receipts are so important.
Yeah.
So as we get ready to kind of wind down, and for those that are here, Karon has a free guide for everyone, and the website is online, is on the Undertaker, so you can take advantage of that. Um, so one of my things is I love to talk about legacy. So in terms of legacy, what do you want to be remembered for in your life, in your personal life, in your professional life, in your entrepreneurial life, and how has your goals shaped that? And so just as I was talking about tracking, how for whatever you want the end to look like or you want to be said, how are you moving forward in that?
Legacy questions always move me because you're thinking about once you're no longer here. You're no longer here. So, what have you left behind for family, for clients, for the public in general? What are you leaving behind? And I will say this, for me, it is being known to live authentically and to speak authentically, to be authentic in everything I do. That is hugely important to me because I believe in the statement, too much is given, much is required. I believe in that wholeheartedly. In my being required, being authentic in what I do, so that what I do, which is a part of my legacy, the books I've written, the public speaking that I will do, the master classes that I do, the workshops, everything I do, that it is authentically delivered to whomever my audience may be, because I am dealing with a person's life. I am not, it's just not about the money. The money is great, don't get me wrong, because you can do a lot when you have money, right? But at the end of the day, when they think back on how I poured into their lives, when they think back on how I empowered them to think better about themselves, at the end of the day, when they think, because I was at this workshop that Karon put on, she showed me how to speak better about myself. I then was able to take that and move forward with it and build this life that I have created for myself. That is the ticket for me. For me to speak to someone in a way that they can see themselves better, and in seeing themselves better, they can do better, they can make better decisions for themselves and continue to live a fantastic life. That is what I'm looking forward to being part of my legacy. And how am I working towards that? As I said at the beginning, authentically living, authentically speaking, authentically being present, not just to have my face out there, but to have my face out there with purpose. Yes, when I walk into a room, they will know I'm there and will make room for me. But in them making room for me, they will know that in me, they can get what is real. They can get the truth. They can get authenticity, not the fluff. I don't believe in fluff in anything. I really don't. Fluff, you can keep that. But authenticity, which means that I operate with integrity, I speak with integrity, I honor people with integrity. So that is what I would like my legacy to be about and look like.
Wow, I absolutely, that was powerful. Um, that was powerful. Um, and that goes back to a phrase from, I believe, it's Zig Ziglar. People don't care how much you know until they know how much you care,
Absolutely.
right? And I believe that that is such a powerful statement
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
of how, because of you, someone's life and even their legacy. So it's
Yes.
not, remember, everything is a domino effect. You
Mm-hmm.
hear me call it the ripple effect. And it is not just them. It ripples out to their family. So whether
Yeah.
good, bad, or indifference, right? However we show up, good, bad, or indifferent.
Yeah.
If you mean and you cuss and you whatever and all the stuff that you do, or you're positive and you da-da-da, that is going to ripple from you to your family, the people that are closest to you. So don't get it twisted. As Karon is speaking and she's talking about empowering women, and as I say all the time, I'm always looking to empower one because I know it's not just one.
Mm-hmm.
That one, I don't know. We don't know how many seeds are in an apple. So, in saying that, it may look like one apple, but that one woman that you're speaking to at your workshop, you don't know who all she's going to um, empower and affect. So,
Yeah.
legacy, that is an incredible legacy wrap up. Thank you so much for that. So as we get ready to kind of wrap up and draw our conversation to an end, and at the very end, for those that are here, Karon has a special gift for everyone that's here. And so before we kind of shift and kind of take you to the end, share with us, do you have anything that is coming up? You mentioned that you're an author, you have products, you have, so do you have anything that's coming up that you would like to share and talk about?
Oh, yes, yes, yes. Particularly for those that are in the Atlanta area. And as you're listening to the replay, make sure you put in the comments #replay. We have a, Circle of Strength Family Affirmation Workshop. And I was speaking sidebar. I was speaking with a young lady who wants to book me for a speaking engagement at a church. And coming from the church, been in the church, still in the church all my life, I said to her, I said, please be very clear that anything I do say, be involved with, will have affirmations in it because I believe in them just that much. So, back on track with the Family Affirmation Workshop, this is a workshop designed to bring attention, bring focus to families, mom, dad, children about affirmations, how important it is for them to be able to speak well about themselves. So, that workshop will be in Marietta, Georgia, at the Pop Up and Create event space on August 10th at 10 a.m. Anyone who gets a ticket, and I'm going to extend it until noon today because we had a few tech issues on my part, that if you use the coupon code MSparks, you will get a discount on the ticket that you purchase. There are two types of tickets. I'll let you see that on the website. But on the first link that Leslie put up, in the first link I posted, that is to my website, and I can give the link directly to the registration page. I'll put that in the chat right now. But if you go today between now and noon, you will be able to get a discount on that ticket for this workshop that will be in Marietta, Georgia, and which is not far from Atlanta, for that workshop. And we're inviting everyone to come in to be a part of this amazing event. I have partnered with Clivia Allen. She has a book about affirmations A to Z. So I don't care what, I'm not concerned. I'll say it differently. Let me say that differently. I'm not concerned about the naysayers about affirmations. I'm not really concerned about that because I am a living testimony as to what affirmations can do for you. Speaking well about yourself gives you a view of who you truly are and not what the world tells you you are. So with this workshop, where we have come together. She will be focusing on the adults. I will be focusing on the children. We have all kinds of activities set up for them. So please feel free to register between now and noon Eastern time so that you can take advantage of that discount. Now put it in the chat, and it is M Sparks is the discount code. And if you put that in the coupon code for registration, you'll be able to get a discount on that registration. And also, if you go to my website, the books that I've mentioned, the children's affirmation book, the journal for women who are in the process of a rebuild in life, my t-shirts and the candles, and of course, booking a consultation call with me for your personalized affirmations are available from that website as well. So there you go, Leslie. Those are all my offerings. And I look forward to hearing from anyone that would like to book me for coaching as well. I am open to that. It is a very specific process that delves deep. So don't come for me if you're not ready. Don't come for me if you're not ready. But if you're ready, let's partner up and let's get you on track so you can build the life that you desire.
Awesome, awesome. And in terms of what can they expect, just share, just give us a little snippet of what can they expect
At the workshop,
at the workshop.
yes, activities. The women are going to do a deep dive into the mirror work of affirmations, of speaking well about yourself. And for me, with the children, I will be showing them how easy it is to speak well about themselves. And I'll tell you this little snippet too. In working with both the adults and the children, when we do the group activity, which it is going to be amazing to see mom affirm that child and to see that child affirm that adult. Oh, I'm so looking forward to that. So yes, that's a little snippet. There's much more, but that's a snippet of what they can expect for the workshop on August 10th.
That's amazing. And we have a guest. Mel just ordered her affirmation journal as a gift.
Thank you,
Yes,
Mel.
yes, yes, yes. Thank you so much. We can remember when we were in middle school,
Hmm.
and when we were growing up. And only now as adults, and I try to make sure that as my children were growing up, trying to remind them of that. But only now as an adult, looking back at some of the things, the mean things that children said to me, and for all the adults that's online, you can think about that as well. And because you've done the work, you can now look back and realize, wow, those children were hurting,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
For me, I've been 5'10", 5'11" since I think I was in the fifth grade. So I was always the tallest in the class.
Mm-hmm.
I was the tallest, I was the skinniest, and because I've lived all over the world, I
Mm-hmm.
had multiple accents, right? So people didn't know what to do with me in the 70s.
Mm-hmm.
And in the 70s, I lived in Connecticut. And so
Mm.
you can only picture what the world looked like in the 70s in Connecticut.
Yeah.
And someone with multiple backgrounds and diverse outlooks. I was pretty much an outcast, and because of my accents and people knew where I came from, I really didn't speak much because I didn't want to be teased. Because back then, they would say that, oh, where I come from, we don't wear clothes, we swing from trees, and all this stuff. And this is kids. So that's why I share this story to remind us that our children, even now, are going to school not in a protective bubble. So you could have this amazing bubble at your house, you can
Yeah.
speak positive at your house,
Yeah.
but they are going out with other individuals
Mm.
that may not have been exposed to that. And the
Yeah.
reason why I say expose is because I believe that once you know better, you do better.
You do.
So the reason why the children may react to certain things is because maybe the parents have not been exposed. And Cameron, I love what you said with the young lady who wants you to speak at church, and you made mention that I am going to speak about affirmations. I'm going to come back to that because I want you to kind of kind of unpack that a little for us, because I
Well,
think that that's important. But so we need to remember, as Karon is talking about, do you have your book for do you have a children book anywhere near
I
you?
do. I do have it right here.
Um, that is so important. Um, that yeah, there's Karon's book for children, and it's not. I'll have Karon talk more about it, but it's not just for children. It
No,
is for adults and children to do together,
let's see if I can
right?
get this better. Nope. Okay. I was trying to get a better. Oh, here we go.
There we
There's a.
go. Yep, yep, yep. That
Yeah.
that is so important, because
Mhm.
the words, the words that a fifth grader, third grader, sixth grader could say to your child or your grandchild, you don't know how long they would wear those words. And the only reason why is because whoever those children were, they didn't come from a household where they're speaking positive about themselves. So Karan, I'll let you talk about the book, and if you can unpack a little bit about why you chose to mention to the young lady that, I'm gonna talk about affirmations everywhere I go.
So let me talk about the book, and I do apologize. My background is not allowing to see the book itself, but I think I can give you just there. That's the top of the book. It's my editor Leslie George helped me, and her team helped me to put a beautiful product together for children. And just really quickly to piggyback on what Leslie was saying, I'm a firm believer, and you'll have to really come with it to convince me of differently. What we model for our children at home is what they present out in the streets. So if we are teaching our children at home first, if they hear us, even in correcting ourselves, if I make a mistake, instead of saying, oh my gosh, I'm so stupid, if I say instead, next time I'm going to make a better choice, I know what not to do. They're listening to us talk. So they are going to adopt that same modality of talking about themselves and others as is done in the home. Now, no shame, no blame to anyone, because if you don't know better, you don't do better. But when you have been informed of what to do and you start to do that, that practice it's just catchy throughout the house, right? To speak well about yourself. And when children are their confidence and self-esteem is so much so in the home, when they go out and hear someone say, "Ah, you are so ugly," it washes over them like nothing. Because one, they don't have to prove anything to anybody. Two, they don't have to convince anybody of anything. Three, they can stand in the truth of who they are because they learn this at home and the people that are around them. So when they're in the schools and hearing from a child who is hurt people, right? That washes over them. And that child's going to say, well, that didn't bother them. Why? There's an opportunity for the child who has that confidence to then pour into that child who doesn't have that confidence. So that mushroom effect. So starting at home with the children, me learning it first, because in this book, parents work with the children. Parents first. My first part of the book is for parents to get an understanding of affirmation and then go into it with the children. And then they work together to create their own affirmation. So a really fun activity book. The reason why I said to the young lady about please make sure that everyone is aware that everywhere I go, I speak about affirmation is because in our beautiful churches, our organizations, our edifices, etc., there's not a great understanding of the necessity of that scripture that says, speak those things that aren't as if they are. We may see it as, a nice little catchy phrase, but it is real. It's true. We have the power of death and life in our tongue. I bring those scriptures to life in my practice, in my speech, in my books of this is what speaking well about yourself, speaking life about yourself looks like. Donna Lawrence song says, speak life, right? So I am always going to speak the I am, I see, I will, I do. I will always do that. And if they need a reference point, let me know. I'll give you the scriptures, but I will always speak that way. It's my way of showing that this is what this scripture looks like in my day-to-day life, that when I don't feel my best, I can say I'm wonderfully made in the image of God. that I am a courageous being that was created by him and him alone. I can speak well about myself because the word tells me I have the power of life and death in my tongue. So affirmations will always be my avenue that I use to speak well about myself and others. So there you go, Miss Leslie. That's why I said that to her.
That was beautiful. That was absolutely beautiful. Thank you. Thank you so much for that. Um, well, as we get ready to wrap up, is there anything else that you want to share? Any final thought, piece of advice? I know you just gave us so much just a while ago, but I want to invite you again if there's anything that you do want to share with us, a quote or anything that you want to share as we get ready to close out.
Yeah, there's a quote I heard the other day that said, um, in effect, it simply said that everything. Oh, well, I'll say this one here. Right where I am, God is, and I have everything I need. I have no judgment whether you say source, universe, whatever your term is. No heat, no judgment here. But understanding that I am not short of anything. Now, has it made a physical demonstration yet? Maybe not. But I'm not short of anything. And if I want to leave you with this, know that you are capable of doing absolutely everything that you were placed here to do. The only thing you are to do is to believe, not just say it, but believe it. Even when the little setbacks come by, and I do say little because sometimes we make things bigger in our head than they truly are, right? So when setbacks come, you are still capable. When you got to pivot, you're still capable because right where you are, God, universe, source, right where you are, God is, and you have everything you need. Believing that and tapping into that is your key to your success. And that's what I'll share with everybody.
Profound. Thank you so much. Once again, I want to thank all of our viewers that joined us today. Please share, like, subscribe our channel. Thank you so much for helping us spread the word. As we close out today's chapter of Mosaic Sparks, this is our second episode. I just want to thank Karon so much, the Affirmation Whisperer, for sharing such profound insights in her stories and so forth. And just remember, each step that you take builds the path to your own legacy. Legacy is huge for me because otherwise, isn't that why we're doing it, right? And I once heard Oprah say, I'm going to paraphrase it, but we all know Oprah doesn't have any biological children. But with Oprah, in terms of legacy, what she says is that legacy is every person that you meet and touch. And so, as you continue to build a path to your own legacy, keep moving forward with your purpose and don't forget your passion. And
Yes.
so, we hope that you leave today feeling inspired and ready to make your mark. And don't forget, once again, to subscribe, like. We'll be back here in about 2 weeks. So, until then, keep creating, keep dreaming, keep believing, and keep sparking positive change. And thank you once again for listening and have a wonderful day. Bye for now.
Bye, everybody.